So you've done the self-help and you've dipped into some personal development, but now you ask the question, now what? What can you do? Well, if you want to escape the apathy, step right this way. So twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week personal development and training course. What people get out of it is multifaceted. There's curriculum, there's exercises, there's camaraderie, you make new friends. There's a whole lot of interesting things. We're going to hear a sample from the course right now, and let's take a look at the value these students are getting. Lots of things to keep ourselves safe from in the world. And how do you balance that with experiencing the world as you need to with boldness, courage, and freedom? It's not about engaging in life in a risk-free environment. That doesn't happen. So you want to be able to choose the dangers and mitigate them, right? You want to choose the environments where you're going to encounter hazards and dangers, because there's going to be dangers in anything we do. Right? There's people that get crushed at work because the filing cabinet fell over on them just as much as they fell off the crane at the building site, right? There's like accidents can happen anywhere. And there are groups of people who make accidents happen and make them look really, really nice, Clark. But we're not talking about that small group of people. We're talking about like the mainstay every day. How do you keep yourself safe? Like you could be going to a big box store and somebody could just be having a bad day, one of those Michael Douglas falling down days, and how you just recognize there's something going on and separate yourself from the situation, unless you're going to be the person who breaks that situation up. And then in that situation, do you have your kids with you? If you get arrested, what happens? Like you got to think those things through before you go playing hero in any of those situations, right? So there's a lot to think about, and that could keep you from taking action for sure. So it's not about the 1,000 things that could go wrong. It's really about what could the one thing that can go right. And let's focus on that. And going back to some of the comments earlier in this conversation, and then what I mentioned Friday night, as far as the documentary, in that Tony Hawk documentary, Until the Wheels Fall Off, there was this thing in there about fear and courage and how he never thought of all the things that could go wrong. He only thought of, I'm going to do this thing. And that's singular point of focus, right? And stuff went wrong many, 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 many times. But instead of like, so I thought of that because I'm a person who's going to think of all those things that can go wrong before I do the thing. And I'm listening to the guy who does all these amazing things by overcoming his fear. And I'm like, well, maybe that's something I can learn from. It's not to ignore all these things that can go wrong, but you're not letting those things cycle through your head. The thing he's cycling through his thoughts is he's going to do it this time. He's going to do a little different than he did last time, get a little bit different result, and he keeps moving forward in a very it's like a visually painful way to see how cause and effect and thinking and trying again works. Because otherwise we're doing it in the silence of our own head. And he made this orchestral music out of having his body slam so many times from the failure, that it's a good visual pickup on like what we do in these situations for ourselves. And that he's an extreme example, but that's why it's like good to learn from that extreme example and then bring it back to the simplicity of everyday life on how we can maybe say, recognize the risks, sure, and what can we do to mitigate some of these risks or be prepared if some of these risks emerge. But otherwise, you got to go have fun. And, you know, like the attitude of Wendy's parents' generation of, my child knows how to swim. The boat doesn't have a hole in it. There's no sharks in it. She's going to be fine. Let her go do her thing and discover and become one with the environment, right? And then one generation later, we're a little more conscious. We're like, it might be too dangerous and I can't go with you right now, so therefore you can't go. And then it's like the helmeted, nerfed up culture in the next generation, where it's like, just to even ride your bike on flat pavement, let's get you all Tony Hawked up with all your equipment and stuff like that. And that's good too, because head injuries are awful, right? But look how long people didn't have seatbelts, and we all made it here. And they didn't have helmets, and we all made it here. Like our parents were able to get us into this place. And, you know, so it is a nuanced difference between the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, how people were living today, as far as, but what has changed realistically, as far as, did concrete suddenly get harder? Like, you know, did any of these things in the environment really change? Nah. And then, but there's a huge market around the safety, and getting our kids so like in tune with that safety and making them so aware of what happens when you get hurt. Like we get hurt, we heal most of the time, thankfully. We got this thing inside us that's like, oh, broken bone. 6 weeks later, you got new bone, stronger than before, right? So we do have this amazing internality of healing, and we do have to go through pain to live and survive and thrive in life. So maybe it's a better idea to get used to these things as children and get closer to reality and go through some of those scuffs and scrapes and things like that, and learn how your body can heal if you get the gravel out of your knee wound fast enough, and these sort of things, right? Because later when they have to encounter pain, they're like, to some degree, they've gone through their rites of passage, whether it's skateboarding or bicycling or rollerblading, or we're talking about how the skates were missing, all those types of things, right? If you don't put the sewing machine needle through your finger a couple times, how are you going to learn not to do that and take your foot off the pedal? You have to have enough freedom to make mistakes, non-mortal, non-permanent mistakes. We're not talking about people losing limbs or, becoming catastrophically injured. We're just talking about like the minimum thing that we need to kind of grow up and adult up in this world. And they seem to have, in the last couple generations, kind of nerfed that out of people. Too much protection, too many trophies, too little adversity. I mean, adversity, we don't like it at the time, but it usually makes us better, stronger, right? When I think of people in my life who have strong character, integrity, like non-movableness to the bullshit of reality, they've been through some stuff and they've survived, right? These are not things that you just kind of innately come from Nerf land and you can survive. You have to learn how to toughen up. And people aren't tough enough to take no, oh, I'm crushed. No, it's a numbers game. I'm going to hear no 97% of the time with my offer. I'm going to work with the 3% of the people who say yes, right? So if I focused on all that failure, then I could never get to that success, because you have to go through that failure to get to the success, right? And to go through it means you got to keep moving. You got to have that goal and say, I don't care about the failure. 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 Oh, I just did the thing. Now that's what I care about. That's the feeling you're seeking, right? You can't get those feelings without overcoming adversity. Think about any movie that you've ever watched of a character that didn't overcome adversity and get something. You're like, oh, that person's entitled. Like they had it given to them. It was rigged, whatever. But you see somebody else do this like impossible thing and they keep trying and you're like, buddy, stop, come on. And they keep doing it and they keep doing it. And then they succeed. Then you're like, oh, maybe they're teaching me instead of, I thought I knew how to do the thing. I'm telling them to stop, not to try anymore, right? So there's a lot of different mentality, kind of philosophical modalities that intertwine there. You can pick whatever works for you, but it's about being able to see life is danger and say, I don't care. I'm going to go do the thing I need to do anyway. Whether it's go get the job I don't want to feed my kids, or whatever the thing is that you have to do that you don't want to do, that seems scary, that seems like, but if your goal's on the other side of that, then that's a fear worth going through, most likely. And we should train ourselves to understand and discern and choose wisely and mitigate risks and engage. But that's not what our society has encouraged or rewarded lately. It used to be the only reward. If you don't build the shelter, you're going to freeze and you're going to perish from being exposed to the environment. So you can go 3 minutes without air, 3 hours of negative exposure to the environment, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Those are like the magic threes to stay alive out there. And if we don't plan and accommodate for those things, then we perish. And if while going out to accommodate those things, we encounter dangers, we can also perish. I went out to get firewood, but it was dark and I stepped off the cliff and that was it. People have perished in such ways to get us to where we are today in civilization. If you ever go through and travel parts of the world where they've got tunnels that go through mountains for like 30 miles, you're like, who dug these? What kind of conditions were they in? Right? When you comprehend the nature of the world around you and that which brought it about, it's almost impossible to have self-pity and to have these sort of things, because you're like, dude, people went through way tougher times to live their life in the past, right? So to the Academy of Ideas point from that last week's show, we live in like the safest time ever in human history. Like we can go to the bathroom outside, so we don't have to go to the bathroom outside risking rattlesnakes biting us while we're squatting, right? We got bathrooms and indoor plumbing, and something goes wrong, the plumber comes and fixes it. So like the level of terrarium lifestyle, right? Artificially created and supported by some other entity, let's just say government for the sake of this explanation. This whole dependence grows where people are no longer connected with nature. They don't know what it takes to plant a seed or bring a harvest to yield, or to be self-reliant in one way, let alone every way, right? In the city, there's people that don't know where their food comes from. They don't know where their water comes from. They don't really know their needs, right? And there's plenty of people out there kind of living homeless who kind of are showing you the bare minimum. You need a cardboard box. You need this. You need access to some water. There's people living out there without much infrastructure whatsoever, but they're surrounded by people who have thrown away good food to eat and all these other things, right? So even among like the homeless in any of the cities that are pretty hardy people, they're living outside full time. They're not living with electricity and access to plumbing and these sort of things. If you took them out and actually put them outside the terrarium, they would probably die pretty quickly on their own, because they don't have the discipline and the recognition of their surroundings and the prioritization. And if you don't have that stuff and apply it from the get-go, you immediately, your mental acuity starts to go down, because you're shelter deprived, you're dehydrated, you're becoming less and less fortified with food, you're overwhelmed with psychological aspects. And most of the time when you leave people in the woods or they get stranded, they die from self-pity, not from getting eaten by the bear, but because they feel sorry for themselves that they should ever be in a situation in the first place, and they panic, and that kills people real quick. So understanding ourselves, understanding our environment, and then the convection current of pulling specifics from the environment into our brain, generalizing those ideas to understand, or to take that general idea from our brain, put it into reality through action to create the specific. In essence, what we're learning to do is to adjudicate the objective real world with the subjective consciousness and the words that we hang on the things that we interact with. And that's where we can have understanding. We can pass knowledge between each other and make wisdom. These are all these the critical points of logic and reason and keeping ourselves alive using our brain kind of reside. So it's a balancing act. As you go through the course, you'll get more in depth with seeing not just the dangers, because our brains are wired to see the dangers, but not really the opportunities. The opportunity is like a trained thing. The danger is an innate thing. It helps keep us all alive. It's a good thing that we notice such things. But in order to survive, we have to see those things and then make a move and move forward anyway. And if we're not doing that, we're going to be dependent on somebody who is doing that, because that's the deterministic part of natural law that we don't control. So we have to see it for what it is and work within it and use those forces in order to survive.
Having the freedom to be in control of my time and my workload has always been really important to me. So I took AUTONOMY and I got some high value skills that'll let me work anywhere at any time. I got the skills that'll let me overcome the problems and challenges that come up in my day-to-day life. And I overcame my fear and my self-doubt, so I'm not procrastinating anymore. You can take your scarcity mindset and switch it out for an abundance mindset at getautonomy.info. Check it out today.